welcome back to my channel. My name is Isabel, and these are the books I read during the month of July. July was a bit of an eclectic month. We had an American classic, a young adult reread, a literary queer Latinx memoir, and literary fiction. So let's get started, right? I started the month with Cleopatra and Frankenstein by Coco Mellers, and you know all about this because I already ranted in an earlier video this month, so I'm gonna keep it short. This novel follows young artist Cleo, middle-aged successful guy Frank, and they fall in love, they get married, they try to make it work, it doesn't work. New York is the setting of this story, and it allows them to indulge in the self-absorbed problems. It is composed by multiple narrators and portrays age gap relationships, substance abuse, sexual exploration, and just very messy people in general. I give it 3 out of 5. Now that with every day that it passes, I kind of forget about it because it wasn't that memorable, but when I do think about it, I kind of feel like I should give it 2 stars. But I'm not gonna change it, so 3 out of 5. Next, I read In the Dream House by Carmen Maria Machado. And okay, let me rephrase that. I didn't read this book, I devoured this book. In the Dream House explores what a memoir can really be. For decades, we have tried to submit our memory into a structure, a formula that follows our typical ideas of an autobiography and memoir that is linear, that it's shown as kind of fictional because it fills all the gaps and it gives us big reflections of things. Machado drops the pretense of such a formula or a structure that it could be applied to something like memory and trauma. And she digests her trauma and memory in the form of a house and in the form of this memoir that is highly experimental, but at the same time, it resonates with you because we also know the realities of our own fleeting memories and how that preconceived formula, it's alienating and puts us away sometimes from the human connection that we look for when we read a memoir. Each chapter is raw, gothic, it represents rooms in the house, and the word that keeps coming to my mind to describe this book is just magical. It feels pretty much filled with special magic in it. It might be dark, it might be bright, but it's just sensual almost. Most of the memoir follows the struggles that queer women face and the gender relations that we relate with domestic abuse. So domestic abuse and sapphic relationships both come with a lot of stereotypes, and I don't know, people tend to believe that because there's not a man involved, there cannot be abuse in a relationship, that only men are capable of abuse and violence. And as I said with my review of A Certain Hunger, we need to part away as a society with the idea that men are the only ones who are capable of inflicting pain and violence, because that's not a feminist point at all. It just makes women perpetually weak and impossible to be hurtful to other women or to humanity in general. If you didn't cry reading this, I don't trust you. I probably don't even want to meet you. I give it 4 out of 5 stars. I believe this is one of the books that I'm going to be continuously recommending it to people. And the problem is, it's so personal and raw that, for example, I have a friend. We were used to be best friends for a long time, and now we're not that close anymore, but I still wish them the best and everything. And I would love to recommend this book to them, but I wonder, is this going to hurt them? Or is this something too personal that they're going to feel exposed by me recommending this book? It is that powerful, but I'm openly recommending it to all of you, and just wow. Really, probably the best book I read this month. Now, as a reread, The Summer I Turned Pretty by Jenny Han. And please, I'm going to look for the cover that I remember. I want to state that I read this book back in 2010 because I was my first year of middle school. So let's keep that in mind, that I was 12, 13 reading this trilogy. I remember that when I first picked the first book. The third book wasn't out yet, so I might have been like around 12 and then 13 when the third book came out. And these were the first books I ever read in English completely, like on my own. First, I was reading more advanced things in Spanish, but then I tried to learn English and like turn into those. And YA was really where it was at. If you were in the internet in 2010, you know that booktubers were in book Tumblr was the sensation, and it was like the book talk of our times. So these books and To All the Boys I Loved Before books were very important to me. In my mind, these books were amazing. I wanted to be like Belly. I thought Conrad was the best guy ever in the world. And I wanted a glow up for me as well. I was, when is it going to be my turn to be pretty? Now, as a 24-year-old woman, and not a child, I have some problems starting up from the title. The summer I turned pretty. So before you were ugly. And it might be simplistic, and I know that it's not with the intention of being rude or mean or anything, but I thought that one day I was also going to stop being ugly, and I was going to be pretty and worthy of love and attention and of people not treating me like crap. And I don't know, I cringe each time that I hear or see the title, because it is just so close to equating beauty with thinness and with boobs and with, I don't know, being accepted and getting male validation. I might be overthinking this too much. I'm probably overthinking this too much, because this is aimed for 12-year-olds like me in that time. But I just find that very cringeworthy and problematic, and something I need to say right away. And also, this is the weirdest review, but if you remember, my name is Isabel. And as a fellow Isabel, I hate the nickname Belly. You're telling me that you call your daughter Belly and you make her feel like she's ugly until she's like 16 because she miraculously grown some boobs? Belly. Belly button. I don't like that. I don't like it. It's problematic. I don't like it. Maybe because I was an overweight Isabel reading this, and I was like, please let this be me one day. In that respect, I do like, when was it? 2020, I reread the To All the Boys I Loved Before trilogy. I feel like I like that one more, especially because, as I remember, the second book in this series was really bad, even in my 12-year-old brain. So I don't know if I'm going to continue rereading this, but I believe it is what it is. It is not aimed for me, and it's also from 2010, or I think it came out in 2009. So it was also a different time, a very problematic time. Whatever, I'm gonna give it 3 out of 5. Yes, I know it might be too high, but I think that for the context, the audience it is for, it's okay, it's enjoyable, it's very easy to read. And something that I like when I was 12 and now that I'm 24 is the realization towards the end. Because at the end of the first book, when the big plot twist is thrown and we find out what has been happening, Belly and you as a reader realize that she has been concentrating on very superficial and teenager egoistical things. But I think that as a teenager, I condemn Belly more than as an adult, because as an adult, I understand the parent situation and I understand that Susanna wants them to have a normal teenage summer, and teenagers are egoistical and they're selfish and they tend to be like that, and it's fine because it's part of growing. So I like that is dropped towards the end, like, yeah, this is all cool and stuff, but there are bigger things and there are things that are worth fighting about. I don't know, that's just me. So 3 out of 5, if you're a teenager who wants an easy read, or an adult who wants an easy read, this could be one. I also haven't watched the show. I reread this book with the intention of watching it, but then I don't even have the subscription, so I might not watch it. But I've only heard good things. So it might be the case that you don't even need to read the book or to like the show, because I've seen that a lot of people like it more than the books. I don't know. I am not the person to ask, but if you do want me to watch it and give you my opinions as someone that has both 12-year-old perspective very fresh and a new perspective, I can do that too. Finally, I read The House of Mirth. I read this during the whole month, well, less than the month of July. It took me like 2 or 3 weeks because I was reading like very little each day. So if you know me, or this is just a way to get to know me, I guess, I will die saying that Eden Worthen is an icon and that The Age of Innocence is the best American novel ever. And if you're gonna come for me and say Moby Dick is the best one, you can kiss my ass, because it is not. And the only reason why we don't give Eden Worthen recognition is because she's a woman. I said what I said. Now, what is The House of Mirth about? Because The Age of Innocence you have a video about. The House of Mirth follows Miss Lily Barth. She is beautiful, clever, 29-year-old woman, early 1900s, good, fashionable New York society. What distinguished Lily, and keep in mind that this is something that people can still relate to, is that since the beginning of the novel, she's 29 years old and unmarried. And her society doesn't really have a place for her to be that beautiful and to be that clever and to be unmarried. She arises suspicious. She has no place to be like that. She cannot support herself. She doesn't have her own fortune. And the thing that she has been raised to do is to find a good match. The problem is that even though she plots her schemes, and she's very interesting to read as a character because she's so observant and manipulative, and she could have everyone around her doing exactly what she wants them to do. But when she's about to secure the deal, she backs down because she cannot marry someone that she doesn't love. She wants the whole deal. She wants love, but she also has this taste for luxury. She has a taste for expensive things and a certain way of life. And she's not gonna give that up for marrying like a poor guy or just staying single. So you can see that this is an inner debate that she has with herself. And I think that if The Age of Innocence was very dark, The House of Mirth is the darkest of them all. It is so explicit on how marriage is a transaction, of how people act, how people are viewed, how women have no space in this society to be anything other than wives. And it's so real. It gives you a very bad taste in the mouth. This is no happy story. These people are not good people. It is very dark when you think of how this is the Gilded Age and how everything should be perfect, which makes a very nice contrast, if you ask me. So we have a very impossible situation, an amazing main character, the setting, you know what it is going to be like, and it is a master. It is crude, it is dark, and it's real. So I'm gonna give it 4 out of 5. Because the ending was a bit, I knew what was happening, but I wish it would have been done better. I wish Lily would have had more agency towards the end, even in that last moment, because she was a character who didn't have that. She wasn't allowed to have any of that. So towards the end, I felt no vindication about this character in particular, and that's probably why it is like that, because in reality, she wouldn't have gone. So it is this fiction that doesn't allow you to think that it can operate without the laws of society. 4 out of 5. Please go read it. It is a masterpiece. So that is a wrap up. Thanks for watching. Leave me a comment down below if you have any book suggestions or video requests that you want. I am making a video about annotations because I saw that some people wanted it. Like, I saw some comments about them. So we're having a video about annotations, another one about literary theory, and I'm prepping some things for the back to school, but please feel free to leave whatever you want in the comment section down below. Just keep it nice and respectful, please. Keep reading, and when you're not, follow me on all my social media, link down below. I am Isabel, and I will be seeing you in the next video. Bye!